Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Brainology, Transforming Students' Motivation to Learn by Carol S. Dweck. And this is one of my students' favorite articles that we do in our class. It's pretty easy to understand, so this is going to be a fairly short explanation. Let's start on the very first page of our article, and the very first line. It says, more and more research is showing that our brains change constantly with learning and experience. How awesome is that? I personally think that's great because my brain needs to change. Our brains are always changing. If you're not happy with where you're at, take heart because you can change. With a little bit of experience and a little bit of direction, your brain can change. You are in control of your brain. And this article is going to show us how, just a little bit. So what we're talking about here is the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. And if we think, just without even knowing what these terms mean, if we think about the difference in the term of fixed, something that is solid and unchangeable and unmovable, and growth, something that grows and changes and moves, well, which one do you think leads to changing brains? Well, it's obviously going to be growth mindset. So, look here in this section where it's talking about mindset and achievement. And here, Dweck is defining fixed mindset. Intelligence is fixed. A person has a certain amount and that's that. This is the idea that whatever intelligence we have, we've got it, that's all we're ever going to have, and we're done. This is one idea. And a fixed mindset, when you have that, makes challenges threatening. When you have a fixed mindset and when you encounter something that's difficult, then you're threatened because you know, oh my gosh, I don't have the wherewithal to deal with this. I don't have enough to overcome this. How can I win? And so you're threatened. Dweck goes on to say, they believe, the people with the fixed mindset, that their fixed ability may not be up to the task. And it makes mistakes and failures demoralizing. Demoralizing. What a word. That's a very strong word. So when you have a failure, it's like life is over. I might as well just give up because I don't have it. That's a fixed mindset. It's pretty easy to understand. And keep in mind, we can have fixed mindsets in different areas of our life. Like, I have a fixed mindset, and I'll be honest about it. I have a fixed mindset in math. I only have so much math ability, and I just don't seem to ever be able to overcome it. I'm trying really hard after reading this article to give up my math fixed mindset. But when I make math mistakes, I feel like my whole life is over. So you can have a fixed mindset in one area of life, but not every single area of life. We are complex individuals. So what we would have to do is then try to apply these strategies for different areas of our life. So I'm personally working on my fixed mindset in math. We'll see how that goes. So the growth mindset is what we want to have. And a growth mindset here underneath this big box in our page, a growth mindset is when intelligence is a potential that can be realized through learning. So let's then think about my math fixed mindset. Could I learn more math? Yes. I've quit studying math. I don't even try anymore. I'll be honest. I just, no more math. So if I were to actually try and study some math, perhaps then I could increase my potential, increase my ability. We hear when we have a growth mindset, It believes that everyone can improve their abilities. It is something that can be cultivated through effort and education. So while I will never ever be a rocket scientist, perhaps with a little bit more study, I could actually do basic math without crying on the floor and weeping and wailing. That would be a growth mindset. Confronting, challenging, profiting from mistakes, and persevering in the face of setbacks become ways of getting smarter, according to Dweck. This is growth mindset. So obviously, growth mindset is better than fixed mindset. Growth mindset is going to lead us to more success in life. Why do we have fixed mindset if growth mindset is so much better? What a great question. This is on page 2. How do students learn these mindsets? And one way that we learn them is in school. Unfortunately, we learn these mindsets in school. And one way that we learn them is by getting praise. Yeah, we actually learn these mindsets by the very people who are trying to help us not have these mindsets. How crazy is that? Life is kind of crazy sometimes. Look at this big giant box on page 3. Dweck says, we praised the children in one group for their intelligence, telling them, wow, that's a really good score. You must be smart at this. We praised the children in the other group for their effort. Wow, that's a really good score. You must have worked really hard. That's all we did, but the results were dramatic. Dweck is saying that when we tell people, you did good because you're smart, that leads to a fixed mindset. And when we tell people, you did good because of your effort, that leads to a growth mindset. It's interesting. Dweck is not saying that we shouldn't praise people, which is good, because I like to tell people they get a good job. But what we want to do is we want to praise people for things that are praiseworthy, not for inherent, oh, you're brilliant, or oh, you're pretty, but for things that they actually accomplished, for their perseverance. On page 3 in the middle, where we have, right before it talks about Brainology, she asks the question, how should we praise our students? How should we reassure them? And then she goes on to answer, by focusing them on the process they engaged in, their efforts, their strategies, their concentration, their perseverance, or their improvement, basically their grit. And she is saying that if we praise people for their effort, for what they do, then it encourages them to do and to have grit and to have perseverance. But if we praise people for their inherent qualities, well then why would you try? Because you already have it, and you either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, then what's the point? I've always felt like I don't have math, so what's the point? Rather than, oh, maybe I could try harder and I could learn some math. So if we look then at the bottom of page 4, it's a really good point. She's talking about valuing. What do we value? Why do we do this? Why do we say to people, you're so smart, or you're so pretty, or you're brilliant? She says, Dweck says, in our society, we seem to worship talent and we often portray it as a gift. Now we can see that this is not motivating to our students. If you're born with it, how is that motivating? You didn't do anything to get it. You were just born with it. It's in your DNA. You have to work for it. As opposed to, if we can work for something, if we have to strive for something, then we in fact can be successful. I love this. This is the most important line, I think, in the entire article. It's in the very last paragraph, and it's one of the things that motivates my entire teaching and my entire life, actually. Dweck says here, no one succeeds in a big way without enormous amounts of dedication and effort. It is through effort that people build their abilities and realize their potential. Now, can you have natural gifts? Of course. There's this great quote by Michael Jordan. And the thing is, Michael Jordan was one of the basketball greats. And he failed over and over and over again. But he practiced and he practiced and he knew it. Yes, he was gifted. Yes, he was great. Or look at Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, too, was a naturally gifted, wonderful basketball player. But he practiced. He put in the effort. So, of course, we do have gifts. Of course, we do have talent. But the thing that's so important here is, I think the words in this quote is big way, enormous efforts. We have to put in the effort, ladies and gentlemen. It is not just the talent. Dweck says, taking on challenges, making mistakes, and putting forth effort makes us smarter. Doing these things helps us be successful. And this is basically the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. We want to have a growth mindset. We want to grow. We want to have grit. And this is Brainology in the chapter. If you have any questions, of course, you can ask them. Have a great day, everybody.